Hello everyone, Storm 101 here. Today we'll be taking a look into an ice storm that'll be going on across west central Texas into Oklahoma, and also will be continuing a winter storm over across those similar areas as well, even going into New Mexico into southern Colorado. But I think the main topic there will just be talk about the ice storm because it's going to be a little bit more serious. We're also going to be talking about for Hurricane Zeta, which is expected to make landfall very soon across portions of Louisiana, Mississippi, perhaps into Alabama as well. But let's first take a look into the watch wording map here. And as you can see here, in these dark purples right here, central Oklahoma to west central Texas, those are ice storm warnings that are in effect. These purple colors, like right up here, those are winter weather advisories. You got these pink colors here. That is your winter storm warnings. You can see the west there got a lot of alerts going on out there. Most of them are red flag warnings. Then you also have hurricane watches and even tropical storm watches in effect here across southeastern Louisiana to southern Mississippi as well, where there's a possibility for impact from Hurricane Zeta. And these red boxes here across the Gulf, those are hurricane warnings in effect. So yeah, we got a little bit of stuff to talk about here, and we'll just talk about the ice storm for a short period of time here. Now, a lot of ice is already fallen across these regions here. Before this ice storm started, the National Weather Service offices were predicting ice amounts up to 3/4 of an inch, which I do agree with their forecast. So this is 18Z, so it's around about now. And ice is still continuing over some of these similar regions, and there's still a decent amount of ice coming. Some areas could be seeing ice amounts up to 3/10 of an inch of ice there, or in general, most areas could see another 1/4 inch of ice as well, anywhere from central Oklahoma back into west central Texas here. So ISIS will likely still be continuing over some of these similar regions. If anybody's interested here for the snowfall forecast by the National Reserve's offices, you can see the Panhandle of Texas, portions of the Panhandle of Texas could see snowfall amounts up to 7 or 8 inches of snow. And when you go back to New Mexico, widespread amounts of 10 to a foot of snow across central and eastern New Mexico here. So quite a bit of snow still to come over some of these similar regions here. This is due to a strong, and I mean a strong cutoff low here. And temperatures compared to average across some of these regions are 40 degrees below normal. So this is some serious stuff here as well here. And really this will be continuing on for the next couple days and eventually be getting ejected to the east. Not only that, for a lot of snow and ice, and there could be a lot of rain. And a lot of these areas has seen a decent amount of rain already. We could still be looking at 2 to 3 inches of rain across anywhere from north central Texas into a good chunk of Oklahoma into northern Arkansas there. So there will be some flash flooding issues potentially as well from the storm system, which we'll be talking about this a little bit later down the road. We'll look into the GFS model here. You can see here, really generally your purple or you can say the pink colors. Your pink colors here, that's freezing rain. The purple colors is sleet, and green, yellow, that's rain, and the blue colors, that's your snow. And here's the GFS model here. You can see here, ice is still going to be continuing over the next couple of days. And here comes Zeta here, which we're going to be moving in that topic now. So, this is the National Hurricane Center. We now have Hurricane Zeta, which it has now winds of 80 miles per hour, pressure of 981 millibars. From the last video here, it was pretty much stationary. Now it's starting to move to the northwest at 10 miles an hour. Good news is here, this storm here will be moving at a decent speed. So that means you won't see as much rain, and there's also less time for intensification here as well. And we do expect this to stay as a hurricane as well. Although the downside about it is that portions of Mexico here, when it goes over land, may not do much because this storm here is moving at a decent speed here, so it may not do so much of an effect here. It may bring it down as a strong tropical storm, but it'll gain strength probably again back into a low end hurricane here, and it'll likely die down before making landfall as well. Let's take a look into the moisture here. There is some dry air going on in the western Gulf right now, but this should subside here whenever Zeta goes to the Gulf. You can see they're kind of gaining some intensity there, which it even shows still gaining intensity before landfall, surprisingly enough. Although the conditions are pretty unfavorable along the coast there, and even off the coast for tropical systems here, which I'll show you guys some of the ingredients there. I mean, moisture, there's not a problem. The other ingredients here will be a big issue for the system here as well. And then eventually this here will start to maybe merge with the cutoff low that I was talking about here a little bit earlier in the video there as well. But we're going to be using a different model to play that out because the GFS right now is a little bit too progressive with that. Here's the wind shear forecast. Pretty favorable of where it's going to be, but when it gets close to landfall, which it actually shows, not a whole lot of wind shear, unfortunately. So the GFS is backed off with the wind shear, although there will still be some wind shear around as well. But definitely when it gets onto land, the wind shear will likely increase there as well, and eventually be moving to the northeast. And let's kind of talk about here for some of the ingredients here. This is the ocean heat content. Right now it's in a pretty favorable environment for ocean heat content. Generally, the green, yellows, oranges, and reds, typically they're favorable for tropical systems, but the blue colors, that's not favorable for tropical systems there. You can see here, pretty much you can see here the 25-degree north latitude line right here. Generally, north of that, the conditions are not favorable for tropical systems here. Although sea surface temperatures are not too bad as well, although along the coast there, you can see temperatures really between 22 to 24 degrees Celsius there along the coast, but generally, most of the Gulf of Mexico is really between 26 to 28 degrees Celsius. Although this is still going to be cooling down here as well, especially when Zeta kind of comes over the Gulf as well. Definitely make the waters a little bit cooler, as well. And let's kind of talk about, the system here. We'll use the icon model here. This is the 5 millibar geopotential height. X here, you got your Hurricane Zeta right here. You got your cutoff low across western Texas. And when they get pretty close to each other, especially when Zeta makes landfall, these storms here start to merge here. And what this could do is cause a lot of rain across portions of the Tennessee Valley, the lower Ohio Valley, even into the mid-Mississippi Valley as well. And it'll make the storm a little bit stronger. What this can also bring is the possibility for a winter storm across the northeast here, which I'll show you guys in this graphic here. We're still using the same model, just with precipitation. And look at all that rain across portions of Kentucky, Missouri, Arkansas. Very heavy rain there. That's associated with a front that's going to be there. And when these guys here merge here, it's going to bring tons of rain across those same regions there as well. And you can see here, could become a major winter storm across the northeast there as well. But we're a little bit far out on that for right now, although we'll probably save that for a different video there as well. And what I almost forgot to add into here for Zeta here is the hurricane models. Here's well, even for the National Hurricane Center's forecast cone. So we do expect this to at least die down to a tropical storm before making landfall. You can see your hurricane watches as well for southeastern Louisiana to southern Mississippi and portions of Alabama. Got tropical storm watches in effect for portions of the Florida Panhandle as well. And there's a possibility this thing here may stay as a subtropical storm over land, although it did show that from the National Hurricane Center's cone of uncertainty on the last update, although they kind of backed it off a little bit. But there's a possibility this thing here may stay as a low end tropical storm since it could be merging with a different system here, which they both have a similar intensity here around that time period. And what that can happen there is bring a lot of rain. It can also bring a lot of wind as well across the west reaches there. So there's a possibility this thing here may just stay as a tropical storm over landfall here, which is a possibility. Just something I want to mention about that. That's what which if you don't know, the minimum of a tropical storm force winds that's 40 miles per hour. And you add that to gusts, that could be up to 50 miles an hour. So that could do some wind damage out there and also some minor power outages as well, if that does occur. But for the strongest, for a tropical depression, that's 35 to 39 miles per hour, and that could still do some damage out there. So, but it doesn't really matter. All that changes is kind of the name for it there as well, if you guys know what I mean there. Here's the hurricane models track here. Now, for anybody that's watching this from Kentucky, you know, this is only where the center storm's going to be going. Likely to be missing us to the southeast, but still, if you're northwest of this, you know, of the hurricane models here, we're going to get the heaviest of the rain pretty much here. And there's kind of no doubt about it here, especially when it interacts with a frontier, which increases the moisture around the area. So it's just still, again, here, even though we're going to be on or the center of the storm, I should say, misses to the southeast of us, we're still going to get a lot of rain. And that can also include, Tennessee, southern Illinois, and Indiana, even to southern Ohio into West Virginia. Just to keep in mind that as well. Not only Kentucky, but some of those other states as well can have an effect as well. Here's the intensity forecast here. Most models kind of bring into a low-end hurricane here as well. And you can see here what I mean here. You can see here, a good chunk of models actually still keep this as a tropical storm here over land. That's what I've been talking about here as well. And this model right here has been doing a pretty good job so far this hurricane season. You can see here, it actually maintains a tropical storm. So we'll say that that's a possibility over land here as well across, the Appalachian Mountains as well. Could still see tropical storm force winds. So we're going to keep that in there as a possibility there as well. And like I said, bringing in a lot of rain here as well. Let's take a look into the Weather Prediction Center. So this is the rainfall for the next 5 days here. Some of the highest amounts are back across Oklahoma, 4 to 5 inches of rain, even across so southeastern Mississippi with 4 to 5 inches of rain as well. Although I do disagree with rainfall amounts across the Ohio River Valley. I think the numbers are too low. On the last video, it was showing rainfall amounts around those areas up to 4 inches of rain, but they backed it off to 2 to 3 inches. Although I would say that we could see higher amounts than what the weather prediction is showing, which I think the icon model has a better handle on this here, on this type of setup here. This is the 12Z run. You can see there when you get to those red colors, that's the 6-inch mark. When you get to those orange colors, that's above 9 inches of rain. As well, you can see a couple spots there reaching 9 inches threshold. I think that's a little high, but I think at the max for isolated areas could be 6 inches of rain. But generally, I think it'll be, for the lowest amounts, could be an inch and three, probably as low as an inch of rain, but it can also be as high as 6 inches of rain as well in general. So either way, there's still going to be a lot of rain coming. There could be some flash flooding issues as well. European model is showing a similar situation here, where some areas could see a lot of rain. You can see here the European model is showing rainfall amounts up to 5.5 inches of rain over a good chunk of areas as well. And some of these areas actually do need rain as well. Some areas actually don't. We had here across portions of Kentucky, especially south of Louisville and in southwest of Lexington. Summer has picked up 5 inches of rain last week as well. Kind of a little sneaky setup there for a lot of rain. So just to keep in mind that in those areas there actually don't need rain after getting 5 inches of rain in 24 hours. So yeah, on that. I disagree with the GFS model here. You can see here much lower amounts. This is because it's too progressive here, and I think that's what the Weather Prediction Center is kind of following here. Is the GFS, being progressive? I disagree with GFS. I do agree better with the European model and also as well as the ICOM model with this type of setup here as well. Last thing we're going to take a look into is the severe weather. This is day 3, and beyond day 3, you know, especially across portions of the southeast, does have the threat for at least for a few tornadoes. This is what the marginal risk is for day 3 here as well, which this is Wednesday. Got a marginal risk across southeastern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, southern Alabama into the Florida Panhandle, and likely into Thursday. The tornado threat will likely move into Alabama, Georgia, maybe even into the Carolinas as well, and that could extend perhaps into maybe Friday as well. But we'll be keeping an eye on this here very closely. But anyways, guys, this is all for you guys today. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys like this video, hit that like button. If you really do like my channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell notifications so you never miss an upload. If you guys have questions about this, you can put a comment section down below. I'll answer your guys' questions. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.